group, I'm going to quickly remind you of our concert etiquette that we talked about before break. Okay, you know what that means. Please use it. Be kind and respectful. The group you are about to see is called the Airmen of Note. They are part of the Air Force Jazz Band. All right, this is called the Reeds and Rhythm Sections, which means we are missing a few people, but they are still fantastic. So can we please give them a hand?
so much. How you doing? Man, you guys are a great audience. We can tell right off the bat. We play for a lot of people all around the world, and you guys are a great audience. Thank you for being so attentive. And like Ms. Harden said, we are the United States Air Force Band, Airmen of Note. But of course, we don't have our full band with us. We normally have trumpets and trombones because we think the saxophone is the best instrument. So we left them at home today. So you guys are getting the cream of the crop. This is the saxophone section. Of course, we've got our rhythm section behind us. My name is Master Sergeant Tyler Kubler, and I'm the lead alto and the music director for the band. Let me introduce the guys on the stage so you know who we are and where we're from. And then maybe we'll take some questions. Give you guys a chance to get some input on what you're hearing. First of all, playing those incredibly cool low notes, all that low stuff on a baritone saxophone from Fairfax, Virginia, that's Technical Sergeant Ricky Perrell. Next to me on tenor saxophone, before joining the band, this gentleman toured the world with the Count Basie Jazz Orchestra. You guys heard of Count Basie? Let me see some hands. So, we have that kind of incredible talent in the band. From Chapel Hill, North Carolina, that's Technical Sergeant Grant Langford. To your left, on my right, this guy has been in the band, I think now, he's the longest serving member of the Airmen of Note currently. Over 20 years, I think 22, 23? Wow. Can you imagine doing the same thing for that long? I don't know how he does it. He's awesome. He's been an important part of the band for over 2 decades now, from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Is that where you're from? Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Master Sergeant Andy Axelrad. And our first tenor, incredible musician. He's got his own CDs out. He plays all around town, so if you guys are ever out and you hear some cool jazz music, there's a good chance that this next gentleman, all the way from Marshfield, Massachusetts, that's Technical Sergeant Teddy Baker. And of course, you can't have a rhythm room without the rhythm section. Behind Ted and Andy here, normally he plays a 7-foot Bosendorfer grand piano with an extension on the bottom. He travels with it, but we couldn't fit it on the stage today, so he's playing the electric keyboard from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. That's Master Sergeant Steve Ayers. Sorry, 9-foot piano, so 7 is too short. Can you guys see all the way back in the back there, that giant upright violin? Of course, that's the upright bass, right? He's providing all the low notes for us. He's the heart and soul of the rhythm section from Houston, Texas, Master Sergeant Dave Costa. And on drums, I wanted to play drums when I was your age, but my mom said, no, it's too loud. Too loud. So, it's the second instrument, I think, after saxophone. Everybody wants to play saxophone first, right? And then drums. All the way from Decatur, Illinois, that's Technical Sergeant David McConnell. Okay, let me see. A show of hands. How many people play some kind of music? Sing, instrument? Wow, look at all the musicians in this. That's great. Now, keep your hands up if you can answer the next question. How many people have heard saxophone live before, in person? Okay, so how many people, is this the first time you're hearing saxophones for the very first time live? Awesome. We're so glad that we can be the first time, and we're very proud of our group. Of course, we are active duty military. How many people have military people in their family? Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, Air Force. Look at that. We're proud to wear the blue uniform of the United States Air Force, and we like to represent the men and women that are serving all around the world right now. Of course, the way we do it is by playing music. We think we have a pretty fun job. We get to travel the world and play all sorts of great music. That first tune you guys heard was written by somebody in LA that actually writes for a lot of movies. You guys probably have heard his music. His name is Gordon Goodwin. And that was called Cannonball Run. Ask your teachers or your parents about Cannonball Run. It was a great series of movies back in the 70s and 80s. Not sure how well it's going to hold up these days, but we sure liked it. All right, before we play our next tune, And if we can do this really quietly with some hands, I want to make sure you guys have a chance to ask some questions about anybody on the stage. Let's start with the front row. Yes, sir, in the red shorts. Okay, where is the Air Force? That's a really good question. The Air Force exists all around the world. We have bases, of course, here in the United States, but we're stationed everywhere. Almost in every country, there's Air Force presence. We work in Washington, D.C. at, it used to be called Bolling Air Force Base, but now it's called Joint Base Anacostia Bolling. But it's basically just south of the Capitol. So we get to work pretty close to here. Let's see, gentleman on the side there in the blue shirt, in the aisle. Yes, sir.
Do you guys go to battle often?
Can you repeat that a little louder?
Do you guys go to battle often?
Do we go to battle often? That's a good question. As part of the United States Air Force Band, our job is not necessarily to be frontline fighters, but we support those people that do. In fact, one of the reasons why we couldn't bring our whole band today is because we have 5 people from the band that are deployed overseas right now in support of those brave men and women that are in the front lines. So we're very proud of that. Thank you. How about in the back, on the aisle, the girl with the green shirt? Raise her hand. Yes.
Some people, they're training in a shop near here for the army. Do you know who those people are?
Do we know who those people that are training with the army are? No, we don't know those specifically, but that's a great question. In D.C., of course, we have, in terms of the bands, we have all the premier bands in the D.C. area. So we've got Army, we've got the Navy band, of course we have the Air Force and the Marine band. So, in fact, we just did a jazz concert not too long ago where we had members from the Marine band, we had a couple people from the Navy, and also the Army. So we like to, when we can, we like to combine forces and do as much collaboration with them as we can. Thank you, that's a great question. How about one more, and then we'll play some more music for you. Let's see, how about all the way in the back there with a sweatshirt? Yep. Yes, sir.
What is the best place you've gone to?
Ooh, that's a good question. What's the best place we've gone to? I'm going to let Andy answer that because he's been in the band the longest.
I've enjoyed almost every place I've gone to with the band, which includes Europe, Asia. I haven't been to Mexico with the band. It's a who-who. I'd say I really enjoyed Japan. But I like Chicago too because of pizza.
All right, we'll make sure you have a chance to ask some more questions. We're going to play saxophone only piece now. Sometimes we don't need the rhythm section. We have rhythm inside the saxophone section as well. This is a really fun tune that was written by one of the fathers of jazz and jazz saxophone in particular. Have you guys heard of Charlie Parker? Bird? Really famous. That's great that so many hands are going up. So this is a composition that he wrote. It's called Segment, and it was arranged just for us, just for the saxophone section by one of our former arrangers who's now living in Arizona. His name is Mike Crotty. So this is Segment, written just for the sax section. just so you have a little better idea of what we're actually doing up here, have you guys heard of the term improvise? How many people know what improvise means? For those who haven't, it's basically you're just making up stuff on the spot. So you're creating new melodies in the moment. So whenever you hear one of us play that's alone, they're doing a solo, we don't know what we're going to be playing until we actually do it. So it's pretty exciting, and you have to practice a lot to get to that. But that's what we're doing. And I think for our final tune, I will feature Ted Baker in an extended solo. You guys get to hear some really great improvising. Everybody in the band, of course, is a great improviser. We're also writers. A lot of people write music and they arrange. So we have a great chance to come up with some new material and try it out and play our own compositions. Has anybody practiced writing music? How many people have written any kind of music whatsoever? Even if it's just a very simple melody. Great, so that's what we're kind of doing. We're just practicing, we're taking new melodies and we're writing for this specific instrumentation. All right. I want to make sure that we have time for a couple more questions, and then we'll play maybe one more tune. How about this gentleman in the striped shirt right here in the third row? Yes, sir. That's a great question. Did you guys hear that? Why did we want to become a team? I think because the power of many is greater than the power of one. And music is a fantastic way to do that. Everybody plays sports, right? Can't do many sports without being a great team, right? Teamwork, working together, sharing, all those great stuff that we practice in school and with your families. That's what we try to do with music as well. So we try to listen to each other and work together and share. And I think when we do it well, it ends up being better than if we were just doing it by ourselves. Great question, thank you. How about the young lady with the flower on the shirt in the blue? How do we form the band or get in the band? That's also a very good question. Thank you. The United States Air Force Band has been around quite a while. In fact, the Airmen of Note, the larger group that we're a part of, was created in 1950. Do you guys know anybody that's that old that was alive in 1950? No, I know you. So, this band has existed for a really long time. And when a spot opens up, just like any other professional music organization, everybody that you see on stage here had to audition to get in. You had to go through a lengthy interview process. Like, let's say you want to join, or let's say you want to run for class president. You don't just get to do it, right? You have to practice. You have to convince people that you can do the job. You have to make sure that people vote for you. That's kind of the same way with music. We practiced a lot. We played for the band, and we ended up getting chosen. And then after that, we went through basic training, and boom, here we are in Dale City. Much better than basic training, by the way. You guys are much more agreeable than our drill instructors. What do you guys think? So yeah, that's a great question. So we had to audition and practice to get inside the band. How about one more question? How about the gentleman in the red jacket in the back right there? Yes, sir.
What's the highest pitch instrument you have over there?
That's a good question. What's the highest pitched instrument? That would be my famous gold clarinet. No, I'm just kidding. This isn't a clarinet, is it? What is this? Not a trumpet. Saxophone. What kind of saxophone? Soprano. Not many people, you don't see a soprano as much, but at least on stage, this is the highest pitched one. Next to me, Andy is playing alto saxophone, which is the next lower pitched instrument. And then one octave below this. So if we were to take this tenor saxophone that Ted is holding and straighten it out so it was straight like this, it would be exactly twice as long as the soprano. And that's the tenor. So that sounds an octave below me. And then on the low end, on this side, the baritone, if we were to take Andy's alto saxophone and straighten it, and do the same thing with a bari, it would be an alp horn. I'm just kidding. But the baritone is twice as long as the alto, so it's pretty cool. So the alto and the bari are kind of together, and then the soprano and the tenors are kind of together. Great question. I want to make sure we have time to play one more tune for you guys. And this is going to be an original tune written by our pianist, Steve Erickson, written just for this ensemble, actually. And it's going to feature Ted Baker and Steve on piano, and also some really great drumming by Dave McDonald. This one is in 6. So if you guys want to practice counting to 6 over and over again, that's what we're going to be doing on stage. Not kidding. All right, this one is called Final Countdown, and it's written by none other than our pianist, Steve Harrison. you so much. Ted Baker on tenor saxophone. And David McConnell on drums. We've been United States Air Force Airmen of Note, reeds and rhythms. Thank you guys for being such a great audience, and we'll see you soon. Have a great rest of the day.